Welcome to a special edition of YPN News. This is Kim Kaziaka
and Charity Heimerman bringing you coverage of the Feast of Tabernacles here at the House of Yahweh in Abilene, Texas.
The House of Yahweh in Abilene, Texas is the only place on earth where you will find the original Feast of Yahweh being kept. Now, people come here from many places around the globe to keep the Feast of Tabernacles.
And they come here to learn of Yahweh's ways, His laws, and His prophecies. A way of life that promises freedom from sickness, disease, fighting, and war. Yisrael Hawkins says that it all starts with keeping the set appointment with Yahweh. At His house, the prophesied place where Yahweh chose to place His name.
So stay with us as we experience firsthand the true peace and joy that's found at Yahweh's feast.
We were invited back to the House of Yahweh for a very special gathering, and we wanted to know what this feast is all about.
The Feast of Tabernacles is one of the feasts we are told to observe at the House of Yahweh. In Leviticus 23, we are told to live in tabernacles or booths for 7 days, to remind ourselves that Yahweh made the children of Israel live in booths when He brought them out of Egypt. The sukkah represents the house of Yahweh, where, as I mentioned earlier, we are commanded to join together 3 times a year to worship Yahweh and learn His laws. The word tabernacle also speaks of the protection in times of trouble that Yahweh has promised His people. We make sukkahs with willow or palm branches or any leafy branch. We hang fruit like pomegranate from them, not just for the physical enjoyment, but also to show that the House of Yahweh feeds us spiritual food, the 613 laws of Yahweh.
And spiritual food is not lacking at the House of Yahweh, where we attended daily sermons, workshops, and training classes. We also enjoyed meeting many people who attended the feast, and our own Rebecca Matthews and Miranda Simon got to talk to them about why they come to Yahweh's feasts.
The path we are on is the choice we have made to serve your people each and every day, to learn what to teach and teach what we've learned. Your laws of life has made our lives return. Teach us to be like you, Yahweh, and stop all sin. Through your last days with
I'm Rebecca Matthews with YPN News, and we're here today at the Feast of Tabernacles at the House of Yahweh, and we're experiencing a really neat event here with all kinds of people, and we're excited to share this with you today.
I love this one, I love this.
We viewed a special display called The Peaceful Scene, where we enjoyed sweet watermelon, grilled corn on the cob, corn dogs, and freshly squeezed lemonade, all compliments of Israel Hawkins. The display was not only serene, but also prophetic. The old wooden house is a replica of the very house that Israel Hawkins was raised in Oklahoma during the Dust Bowl days and the Great Depression of the 1930s, a time when most houses had no electricity, indoor plumbing, or modern conveniences. The birth of Israel Hawkins and the increase in knowledge marks the time of the end spoken of by Daniel the prophet. Also at the peaceful scene was an abundant garden, a chicken coop complete with lively roosters and their hens, and other livestock commonly found on the farm. All of this portrays a basic way of life, a way of life that Israel Hawkins says was originally intended for mankind.
Thousands of people come to the feast in Abilene, Texas 3 times a year. for one common goal, the experience of true peace and joy like never before.
We met Sierra Barnes, who travels 3 times a year to keep the Feast of Yahweh, a 27-hour drive all the way from Canada. We wanted to know what motivates her to keep coming back to Yahweh's house. She says what excites her most is seeing the children's joy and the peace and unity it brings to her family.
I'm here with Naomi. And Naomi, would you like to tell our viewers where you are from?
I'm from the United Kingdom.
Now, the United Kingdom, if I'm not mistaken, it is like 4,000 miles away from the United States.
Yep, you're absolutely right.
That's a long distance from here.
It is, I agree with you.
So, I mean, why don't you tell us what motivates you to come so far to keep the Feast of Yahweh here in the United States? Because that's a long way to go.
It is, and I mean, how long have you got? I was a Christian for about the first 35, 40 years of my life. And I know that in all that time, I had so many questions.
Yes.
And I remember the very question that actually acted as the straw that broke the camel's back was in Exodus chapter 3 verse 6 or 6 verse 3, I'm not very sure now, where Moses was asking the Creator what his name was. And I know that in the Christian Bible, Moses was told that the Creator's name was God.
Yes.
And in my quieter moments, I used to ask myself, was the name written in that Bible God or not? And I know that set me on a path of searching. And I did ask several questions and nobody could give me the answer until one day somebody told me that the Creator's name was not God but Yahweh. And I have to tell you, the scales fell out of my eyes. And since then, I know that in the book of Exodus, the Creator Yahweh tells us to go to his place, to search and seek for his place. And that's why I travel all this mile to come here to seek for Yahweh and to attend his feast.
Oh, that is wonderful. It's like a light went off.
Absolutely.
And so
yes.
you got to follow the light.
Yes, 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 absolutely.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us, Naomi.
It's great to be here. It's great to be here. And the people are wonderful. The place is very peaceful and serene. And the food is the best you can ever think of anywhere in the world.
Oh,
yes.
Food gets you every time.
It sure does. Thank you.
The House of Yahweh is very aware of the current state of our world and the issues that plague society.
Without you, Yahweh, we are nothing. You saved us from ourselves.
We watched a sobering display that brought light to the current crisis of over 65 million refugees and internally displaced people living in our world today. They flee their homes to escape war or persecution. Many of these are women and children. The UNHCR says the number is unprecedented and represents immense human suffering. Over 5,000 have died this year attempting dangerous water crossings, and many more die from malnutrition, unsanitary conditions, and abuse at the hands of those who take advantage of their vulnerability. The depiction was meant to remind us all of the direness of the situation and that we can put an end to the suffering. All it takes is educating people, every man, woman, and child, in the ways of peace. In hopes of making the world a better place, they host several Peaceful Solution, character education program conferences, and training programs.
Salvation, brethren, is the plan of Yahweh. Salvation This actually means salvation also. Salvation for mankind, as you see here in Genesis 1, and also in Yochanan 1:1, where it says, in the beginning was this plan. The plan was to support life.
Positive leaders have confidence. A positive leader must be confident in the guidance he is leading others with. He must be certain at all times that he's based on a moral character that will bring benefit to all.
That is one of our keys. We can make a difference, and we want to get that point across to us.
How are you guys doing? You guys ready to have some fun? Yeah? All right. So what we have is we have some cards. So you want to pick a card? So Tanaya, can you read what's on your paper for me?
And you really want to stress this with teachers, that a way to avoid a conflict is to be a very understanding and open to your students. So even if they did something that they weren't supposed to do, be that kind of authority that they can feel comfortable going to you. They know they're going to get correction, but they're encouraged to do better the next time. And you really want to make sure you stress that on your teachers, that that's the most important thing.
We attended a special ceremony where many were recognized for their hard work and efforts. The excitement continued to grow as they showed their support for one another.
But certainly, all the people we met had one thing in common. They've all traveled from every corner of the earth to hear the teachings firsthand from the last day's witness, Israel Hawkins.
Israel Hawkins is enlightening this world. The mountain from heaven that truly shines has gone. Hated by all the religions for his stand. For serving Yahweh and for teaching Yahweh's plan.
Well, thank you for joining us on this special YPN at the Feast of Tabernacles 2016. And Charity, it really has been one of the most fulfilling experiences someone could ever have. The unity and scriptural knowledge and fellowship is unmatched anywhere else.
So true, Kim. And if you would like to attend the Feast of Yahweh, start making your plans right now to come to the Feast of Passover and Unleavened Bread 2017. For more information, you can contact the House of Yahweh at P.O. Box 2498, Abilene, Texas 79604. Or call them toll-free at 1-800-613-9494. Or visit their website at yahweh.com. And for all calls outside of the United States, please call the number on your screen. Once again, I'm Charity Heimerman.
And I'm Kim Kaziaka. On behalf of all of us here at YPN News, thanks for watching.